part of the B&M figure set reviews. I still have one more thing to review after this, which is the Wardell screwdriver, but it's not a part of the B&M set. So, the final one is the greatest figure set that has ever been created, and that is the 8th Doctor and Interrogator Prime. And you're probably wondering, well, why is this the greatest Doctor Who set that's ever been created? One, it's got the 8th Doctor on it, and he's my favourite Doctor, so without a doubt it's already beaten. But this figure set, the Dalek, nice, not what we're interested in. What we're interested in is a Dark Eyes, Doom Coalition and Ravenous 8th Doctor figure. Yes, we finally have one. We have a figure that so many people have customised, so many people have created, and finally Character Options have gone, well, here you go, after all your customs, after all your creations, here he is. And I've got to say, he is beautiful, and he is the greatest figure that I now own. So, yes. The Dalek is very nice as well. It is the new series Dalek, and it is in a very nice colour scheme. It's very nice. So here's the box. On the side we have an image from the very first Time War story with the Doctor and his companion Bliss. So this is from Starship Theseus, I think. So this is Time War Volume 1. Give me a second, it gets more confusing. So the Dalek is from a story called In the Garden of Death, from Time War Volume 2. It still gets more confusing, so that's nice. The 8th Doctor figure has been classed as from the Time War, which is incorrect. This is an 8th Doctor, technically based on the head sculpt and the hurt from Doom Coalition and Ravenous, but can also be used in Dark Eyes, because he wears the same costume, he's just growing his hair out. So this is technically a Ravenous 8th Doctor. We'll go with that, because that's the current audio series that's out with him in this costume. So, in one box, you've got 3 different stories, all wrapped into one. So it's a confusing box, but there you go. That's not a Time War 8th Doctor. That's a Time War 8th Doctor, but they didn't re-release him. Don't know why. Not complaining. We get this. So there you go. I will admit, when they said a unique 8th Doctor, I thought they were going to put an 8th Doctor head on the chip figure to make a prisoner 8th Doctor. Silly me. So we'll move over to the review table and we'll have a look at these 2 very nice figures, and I think it's the perfect way to end this 5-part series, and then we'll go on to the 3-part series with the final 3 sets. Somewhere probably closer to Christmas. I am very poor, though I did spend nearly £110 on Doctor Who figure sets, but there you go. Priorities! Hello guys, and welcome back to the final part at the review section of the table, where I am looking at the 8th Doctor and Dalek Interrogator Prime. Now of course, I'm so sorry McGann, we're going to put you across to the side first, because we're going to look at the Dalek first. So, the Dalek is from a story called In the Garden of Death. This is Dalek Interrogator Prime, which means it is the primary interrogator Dalek of the Dalek army. I don't really know. I've never really listened to the story that this is from. I'm very behind on the Time War stuff, but the Dalek looks really, really good. It is, of course, the Russell T Davies era new series Dalek, but in a colour scheme that really, really stands out. So it's in a nice silver and dark blue. The blue seems to be very similar in colour to the 8th Doctor. They're matching. The silver is nice and glossy and nice and shiny, but the blue seems to be quite matted, which is a nice contrast. So, looking at the Dalek, I won't stay on it too much. The sculpt is really nice. You can see it a bit better on this one than the Axis Strike Dalek, because it's all in silver. But you can see all the individual bolts and screws and vents and all that kind of stuff nicely sculpted. The eye stalk is done really nicely. You can see there's a bend in my eye stalk, and that's because it was up like that, because it was bent in the packaging. But as I said, on my Axis Strike Dalek, if you kind of just twist it round, you can eventually get it straight on. The silver has the same pulling on the wash that the Axis Strike Dalek does, which again, I don't know why that happens, but it just does. But it all looks nice anyway. There I have a turned up sucker arm again. If you look at it from that angle, it's really, really bent, but there you go. It looks good. The Dalek lights, you can see through them. They are translucent, which is good. The articulation-wise is exactly the same. The eye stalk goes up, the eye stalk goes down. The head turns all the way round, and the joints spin as well. And I have cracked these joints multiple times. It's very nice. They've also done some nice silver lining around the gun box, which is really nice. So that is not the Axis Strike Dalek. It's the Dalek Interrogator Prime, and it is a really, really nice Dalek, and it stands out, and it will look good next to any Dalek. I've had it next to classic Daleks, I've had it next to Paradigm Daleks, and it still looks really nice. And which I didn't say with the Axis Strike Dalek, the Dalek does move. It has the wheels on the bottom, like all Daleks do. All the wheels, and like most Daleks, it never actually goes in a straight line. It always kind of curves around. So that's the Axis Strike. That's not the Axis Strike Dalek. It's the Dalek Interrogator Prime. Ah! Too many Daleks. Too many Daleks. So now we are moving on to the figure that I think everybody has been looking forward to. The figure that was very first teased. And that is the 8th Doctor from his yearly box sets. So the head sculpt is the same head that we saw on the Night of the Doctor, 8th Doctor. It's just been painted a bit differently. The hair is nice and wavy and looks really good. The face looks a bit sad, but I think the 8th Doctor is kind of like one of the sadder Doctors. He has a lot going on in his life. The figure is, of course, a 9th Doctor figure, but it's been painted in such a way and redone in such a way that you really can't tell. You know it's a 9th Doctor figure, but you can't really tell that it's supposed to be. So my figure's just decided to suicide run. It's fine. So the lips are painted in a bit of a light colour, I think. The turtleneck looks good. It's painted white and it stands out really, really nicely. You can see all the creases. The blue is, again, a dark blue and stands out with the creases of the jacket. Again, because it's a pea coat, well, it's a leather pea coat. It has the same sort of pockets and buttons as the U-boat jacket, and it works really, really well. Everything about this figure is just fantastic. The legs are painted in a light blue with a lighter blue wash over the top to give it the jeans look. And I dropped him. It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong. And the boots are painted in a brown with a sort of a dark brown to black lining around the bottom. So it does look really, really good. I'm going to give him a little quick comparison to this 9th Doctor figure. Now, this isn't a standard 9th Doctor figure. It's from the 11th Doctor set, and I painted the brown wash onto it. And he has very wobbly legs, but McGann doesn't. So as you can see, exactly the same figure, but there's just enough difference for it to look unique. I will say that build-wise, this is probably the best figure. It feels the strongest, it feels the nicest. At the biceps, there's nothing wrong. Now that's either what they've done with the figure or the figure that is based off of the 9th Doctor has always felt like one of the strongest and most solid of figures. Articulation-wise, he has head, shoulders, biceps, elbows. Does he have wrist? Yes, he does have wrist. Waist, hips, out and up. And then on the knees, there's nothing anywhere different than that. Now, before we end this review, there are a couple of modifications that you can do to this figure to make it even more accurate. Now, if you own a Connor Temple figure from the Primeval range, you will have this backpack. Or if you don't own a Primeval figure and you own this backpack, you've been very lucky and you've been gifted it by someone or you've picked it up somewhere. And this backpack is the final thing that really just makes the figure look like his Doom Coalition self. And it works really well. I don't know why Character Options didn't give it us. We've seen the promo pictures for Jodie Whittaker's Companions, and the amount of reuses of Primeval figures, you'd think they'd be okay with using an accessory. Sonic screwdriver wise, there are two things that you can do. You can take an 11th Doctor screwdriver and put something on the top of it, like a little nub of blue tack or Milliput, and repaint it to make a really nice screwdriver. Or you can do what I did, which was take a Star Wars lightsaber, cut the blade off, paint the bottom bit silver, paint the top bit brown, and that is how I made my Dark Eyes Sonic. It's a bit big, but it fits in really nicely, and with two little modifications, you basically have the perfect figure. Seriously. I could stare at that all day. It's so nice. And with the Dalek, it fits in quite well. For anyone that wants a comparison with the actual Doctor from the story, that is the original 8th Doctor. You can see that the head's slightly different in terms of paint applications and all that. And if you want a TARDIS for the McGann figure, I really do suggest picking up the 5th Doctor in TARDIS, because it fits in close enough. So, final thought and overview of this 8th Doctor and Dalek Interrogator Prime. And here's kids screaming outside of the window. It was not me. So, yes, probably one of the best B&M sets that we've had so far. I actually have to give a really big shout out to my mate Sean, who, without him, I wouldn't have been able to get this, because we went to Big Finish, we went to B&M to pick up some sets that we reserved, and it turns out that all 3 of these Dalek sets are under the same ID code, and when you reserve them, they don't reserve you all 3. They reserve you just one under the code, and for me, that was the War Doctor and Dalek Scientist, and you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you buy it? Because my mate Sean very kindly offered to let me buy this one instead of him, because there was only one of these left on the store. Fear not, he has found one and he's bought one of himself, so he now has one. He also has the Axis Strike Dalek and the Dalek Scientist set, so he's beating me on the point of having these Daleks. But yeah, he very kindly let me have it, and without him, this review wouldn't be possible. And this is the one that I was going for the most. This is the one that my girlfriend was going for the most, and she doesn't collect Doctor Who figures. She was like, I want it. So this is the definitive, I think, Doctor Who Big Finish set. It's a really nice figure that we never thought we'd have. It's a really nice Dalek that we never thought we'd have, and yeah, I quite like it. With this being the final review for now of the B&M sets, minus the Sonic Screwdriver, but Sonic Screwdriver doesn't count as the figure set. So I've still got 3 more to review, but again, there's no guarantee of me being able to get them or being able to review them. So my thoughts overall so far, having seen all of the sets in person, are that B&M and Character Options have certainly shown that they can do a hell of a lot to impress the fans. Now, this is an entire classic wave, and I think next year it'd be nice to see an entire new series wave, because a couple of people were very disappointed that it was only classic figures only. Now, I love the classic figures. I collect them. They're the main ones that I collect, as you can see behind me. I do have a lot of new series, but not as much. So for me, this year has been fantastic. It's been nerd heaven, because we've got more classic sets, and they've all been really strong, and they've all been releases that we've always been hoping. The Shada 4th Doctor, we've always wanted him, because now he can hold the DMAT gun, which is not up there. It's up there. He can hold the DMAT gun from the Invasion of Time. We've got the 5th Doctor's TARDIS, which fits in really well. We've got classic Centaurians re-released that aren't going to cost you 80 to 90 quid to get in set originally. So it's nice to get some new things, some old things, to get some recognition for Big Finish, and it really just shows that Character Options are willing to kind of push the boat out, and I'm hoping that this means in the future maybe they expand and they don't just sell at B&M, they sell at Forbidden Planet. I know it's a difficult market and not many shops are buying them anymore, but if they can go back to Forbidden Planet and bring out some more sets, I know they'll be more expensive, but if they can if this is the start of something new and interesting and exciting, then I look forward to it. And even if next year it's just more B&M sets, I look forward to seeing what they have in store, because again, everything has been really surprising. So, quick overview thoughts. The Charlotte TARDIS looks really nice. It's a brand new sculpted lantern, and it fits in well. 4th Doctor looks really cool, and I look forward to adding him to my collection. The War Doctor and the Dalek Scientist looks amazing, and it's the main reason I want that set. The War Doctor is good if you have never had a War Doctor before, but he's just exactly the same, and they still got the waistcoat painted wrong. It's supposed to be a burgundy colour. But there you go. And the Silver Nemesis set is the perfect set for if you want to collect, if you want to army build Cybermen. If you know of Raven or Doctor Who Zero on YouTube, you'll know that he was buying loads of Silver Nemesis Daleks off of eBay, and I feel really bad for him because now he can get these sets and he can basically get 2 Cybermen for a tenner each. But if you want to army build Cybermen, it's a really good way. I did it with the Monsters pack, which came with the Tomb Leader and the Attack Cybermen. I got 3 of them, and now I've got 4 80s Cybermen. I'm quite happy with that, though I am going to get the Silver Nemesis set to bulk them up just a little bit. And the 7th Doctor in that is nice, a bit weak, but there you go. So overall, 2 TARDIS sets, 3 Dalek sets, and 3 3-packs has been amazing, and for 20 quid each, they're really good, and I look forward to seeing what comes next year. So that's it for the B&M reviews. Again, I have nothing new really to review on the channel. I'm going to go back and review some of the older sets, which I know people have seen them before and they've been out for a while, but I've never put my own personal thoughts out about them. And I've got quite a few that I can actually get away with reviewing, and there's some other stuff around this room, as you've seen in the tour, that I could probably get away with reviewing now and again. I haven't forgotten that I'm still technically within my 20 videos in a year challenge, and I'm probably going to beat it. Let's hope so. And if you don't know what that was just to get me motivated to do YouTube, and then I took a 9-month illness. So, I did well, I think. So I've still got about a month left to do that, and fingers crossed I actually can. But that is it for the video. That's it for the B&M reviews for now, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video and hearing your thoughts on these sets so far. What are your favourites? What did you buy? All that kind of stuff. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I shall see you next time.